So it's 1969. Elvis Presley, the king, is right in the middle of this massive comeback. And then he drops a song that, well, nobody saw it coming. It wasn't rock and roll. It was this raw, gut punch of a story, a piece of social commentary. So today, we're going to unpack the story and the incredible power behind what is, really, Elvis's own rebel song, In the Ghetto. Right from the jump, the song just throws you into its world. There's no flashy intro, no big fanfare, nope. It's just this incredibly stark, almost cinematic image of a cold gray morning in Chicago. You don't just listen to this song, you kind of step right into the scene it's painting. Okay, so to really get why this track is so powerful, we've got to walk through the story it's telling, verse by verse. And let me tell you, it's a short, brutal story about a life that's basically trapped from the very beginning. So the story kicks off, but not with joy, not at all. It starts with pure despair. A little baby is born, and right away, the world sees him as just another burden. Can you imagine? His mom is crying, but they're not tears of happiness. They're tears of fear, because she knows there just isn't enough to go around. And as this little boy grows up, his world, it shapes him. Hunger is his teacher. The cold streets, that's his playground. And pretty soon, it becomes his training ground. He's not pushed into a life of crime because he's a bad kid. No, it's all about survival. Pure, raw desperation. What the song does so brilliantly is lay out this kid's path as this just tragic, predetermined journey. You can see it mapped out right here. It's like this unstoppable slide from a tough start straight to a violent end. And look at how each stage, birth, childhood, youth, and death, it flows right from the one before it. The song is basically screaming that this isn't about making bad choices. It's about a life where there were never any good choices to begin with. And this is where it all leads. The inevitable, heartbreaking climax. That hungry little boy with the runny nose, he's now an angry young man. And his story ends, violently, on the very same streets where it all started. It's like the prophecy of his life was fulfilled in the most tragic way you can imagine. But wait, the story doesn't actually end there. Because this kid's tragedy, as awful as it is really just an illustration of something much, much bigger. And this is where the song hits you with its real message. And here it is, the final, absolutely devastating twist. Just as that young man dies, what happens? On that same cold and gray morning, another baby is born. In the exact same situation. The song literally loops back on itself, hammering home the point that this isn't a one-off tragedy. It's a cycle, and it just keeps repeating. And get this, the songwriter actually had a subtitle for the song originally. He called it The Vicious Circle. I mean, that says it all, right? This was never just a story about one kid. It was a full-blown commentary on a systemic trap, this brutal cycle of poverty and violence that just goes on and on. And then, just when you think the story is over, the song turns the spotlight right on, well, on us. It completely breaks the fourth wall and asks this really uncomfortable question. Are we part of the problem? Are we just too blind to see it? It's a direct challenge, really. A plea to stop looking the other way. So that brings up a huge question, right? Why on earth, with the biggest star on the planet, I mean, he's fresh off this legendary '68 comeback special, he's trying to be seen as a serious artist again, why would he risk it all on such a politically charged song? Well, the answer tells you a whole lot about the kind of man Elvis was trying to be in 1969. Okay, so the song was written by a guy named Mac Davis. Super talented songwriter. He'd already given Elvis some hits, like Memories. But In the Ghetto, man, this was different. This was the late '60s, a super turbulent time. And here's a song that just dives headfirst into poverty and systemic problems. It was the kind of thing that could have totally alienated his fan base. Everybody around Elvis knew it was a huge risk. But despite that risk, Elvis went for it, and what he delivered was just a masterpiece. The music journalist Peter Gerlinick put it perfectly. He said the vocal had this incredible tenderness, almost like the young, raw Elvis who first walked into Sun's studio. It was full of real empathy. It wasn't preachy at all. It was just deeply, profoundly human. So what was Elvis's reason for doing it? After all that analysis, his own explanation was just incredibly simple. He said, "Ghetto was such a great song. I just couldn't pass it up." That's it. For him, it wasn't about some big political statement. The story just hit him, and he felt like he had to be the one to tell it. So a ballad about social issues from the king of rock and roll. Like we said, a huge gamble. But you know what? That gamble paid off. And I mean, it paid off in a massive way. In the Ghetto became one of the biggest hits of his entire career. And if you want some perspective on just how successful it was, check this out. Of all the songs in his entire legendary career, In the Ghetto was the only one to ever hit #1 in Germany. Just think about that for a second. That alone tells you just how powerful and universal its appeal was. And it wasn't just Germany, not by a long shot. I mean, look at these chart positions. #3 in the US, #2 in the UK, #1 in Ireland and Australia. It was a monster hit pretty much everywhere. It's clear that the raw human story in the song just connected with people no matter where they lived. And the sales numbers just back that up. We're talking platinum in the US and the UK, gold in Germany. Millions and millions of people went out and bought this record. So that big risk, it didn't just pay off with the critics, it was a commercial juggernaut. It proved that people were absolutely ready for a more serious Elvis. But the story of this song doesn't just stop in 1969. Not at all. Its message, that haunting melody, it's continued to echo down through the decades, and it's inspired a ton of other artists along the way. I mean, just take a look at this list of who's covered it. You've got country royalty like Dolly Parton and Merle Haggard. Then you've got alt-rock icons like Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds and the Cranberries. It's just wild. Even his own daughter, Lisa Marie, did a version as a duet with her dad's original recording. If that doesn't show you how this song can cross any genre and any generation, I don't know what does. And that really brings us to the final big question that just kind of hangs in the air, doesn't it? This song came out more than 50 years ago. It was a plea, a call to action, to break that vicious circle of poverty. So after all this time, the question it leaves us with is a heavy one. Have we actually done it?